Good morning! It's Monday, June 21st, the first day of summer, the summer solstice, the longest day of the year. So I thought this would be a great time to take a video. As you can see, it's a top-down day on the Mini, and it's incredibly hot and dry here in Baltimore. We've had no rain to speak of since May. So I'm going to take you on a tour of the garden. We've been working hard all weekend to prepare to leave for 2 weeks so I can go to the Netherlands and see the new coneflowers. We've had a lovely new garden art edition. This is made by one of my friends, Tim Hoover, who works at the Milton Hershey School. Tim takes bittersweet vine and makes sculptures out of it. This is one that I have. I had to buy this because it looked like a big slingshot, so we've got a little gnome who's been climbing up, trying to get in there. Perhaps he's going to slingshot himself into somebody else's yard. Maybe he's unhappy with what we're doing here. But we've also got coconut lime here in full bloom. Fantastic. Love it with the yucca. It's got a great color. It's that lime green that everybody loves. And it is blooming with about 4 hours of sun. My house sits in the middle of the property. It faces west, so we haven't gotten sun yet. It's already 11 o'clock. This plant gets sun from about 2 o'clock on. So it's a great bloomer even without sun. Just imagine it in a full sun. I'd like to introduce you to Keegan Riley, my oldest son, my only son. He's 7 years old, about to turn 8, and he wants to tell you all about his new favorite coneflower. Which one's your favorite, Keegan?
The hot papaya.
Hot papaya? How come hot papaya is your favorite?
Because it reminds me of the orange jersey of Holland in the World Cup.
And you've been watching the World Cup like a madman, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah? So we're rooting for Holland? Yeah? Who else are we rooting for?
Portugal.
Portugal because of?
They won 7-0 against North Korea. No.
Yeah, North Korea.
North Korea.
Anybody else you're rooting for?
England.
England? Boo-hoo! All right, thanks, Keegan. That color is perfect. Look at that. It's the perfect color of the Holland jersey. I love it. Good job. So this is Heuchera Dark Chocolate, another one from Charles Oliver of the Primrose Path. You can see the blooms are exquisite. It's still blooming, and we're on the summer solstice today. So it's a long period of bloom, one of the longest blooming coral bells I have in my garden. Deep, deep pink to purple and pure white flowers. Wonderful, perfectly formed bells. Wonderful cut flowers. And the foliage, which is hard to capture here, looks very black, but it's actually a very deep maroon with a tiny bit of silver veining. It looks lovely with this pistache heuchera. Here we have Echinacea Orange Meadow Bright, which everyone says doesn't grow and is not hardy. Well, it's hardy here on a very dry slope. As you can see, I've got a big old pin oak, and it's a tall, tall tree, and it sucks up a whole heck of a lot of water. So this is a wretchedly dry slope, which is why Orange Meadow Bright loves it here, but it's a fantastic addition to my garden, one of the most fragrant coneflowers that I grow, and the butterflies just absolutely adore it. This one is from the Chicago Botanic Garden breeding program. Then we have Pink Double Delight, which was completely smashed by my puppies who decided to dig a huge hole right here in the garden to try and get to a varmint. And it got smashed, but look at this plant. Perfectly in bloom, only gets about 6 hours of sun, and it just blooms and blooms its head off all summer. This one is actually the tallest Pink Double Delight I've seen, and I think that's because it doesn't get very much sun. But it's about 3 feet tall, which is exceptionally tall for that plant. In full sun, it's only about 24 inches. But a winner for sure. This plant should be around for a really long time. This would be the piece de resistance of the trial garden this summer. This is where the 3 new coneflowers are that we've been trialing. We've got marmalade in the back, raspberry truffle in the front. We have strawberry shortcake right here, which no one has seen. This is one of the few flowering plants in the country. It's a bicolor. The first bicolor, you can see that marmalade is a bit bicolor. It's wonderfully marmalade orange with a deeper reddish center. One thing I would like to talk about is the vigor of the plants that come from Ari Bloom. I have a terrible situation. It's horribly dry. I don't get a lot of sun, but you can see the flower power I get on most of his selections. This is Tiki Torch, which does very well for most gardeners that have lots of full sun and not so dry soil. But for me, that's all I get, 2 flowers, and I've tried year after year, and I don't think I'm such a bad gardener. The other plant that does super well for me, which is probably one of the best cone flowers next to coconut lime and pink double delight in my garden so far, because I've had it the longest, is Picabella. It's a seed variety, and it's just a wonderful plant. It's always consistent, always has a lot of blooms, and it's a nice dark pink. Here we have Heuchera stainless steel. It's been going strong since February. It's really a fantastic plant. If you haven't tried it, you need to get some trial plants. I just love this. It's such a vigorous plant, and it had such wonderful flowers for such a long period of time. Probably bloomed for about 10 weeks. We have Echinacea milkshake. Starting to come into bloom. This is one of my favorites. You can see how far down the blooms go. It's really a tower of white flowers when it's in full bloom. We'll check back on that in a few weeks so you can see it in full bloom. Pure white. Next we have Avalanche, which you can see the bees adore. It's been covered by bees all weekend. This is a shorter white from Ari Bloom, and it is pure white, and it only gets to be about knee-high, so it's a great addition for the front of the border, or for containers, or for a mass planting of coneflowers. Right here we have 2 fantastic purple flowering plants right next to each other. Campanula Viking, which is from Ari Bloom of AB cultivars. The color is not represented well here, but it's a wonderful lavender purple. It's been blooming since mid-May, and it still has lots and lots of flower buds on it, so it's quite floriferous and has great flower power. And although it looks like a punctata, it does not spread like a punctata. I have yet to have it spread in 3 seasons of growing in my garden. And then next to it we have Stokesia Elf, which you may remember from the Garden Idol, where I wore those horribly uncomfortable plastic ears. This is a wonderful habit. It's a tight, small plant. The plant's only about 8 inches tall. It's got about 45 flower buds on it. They are bright violet purple. It blooms a little bit later than most Stokesia, so I'll have to wait till next week to show you after I get back from my trip. But a fantastic foliage color, and it stays upright for the entire season. I'll leave you with this panoramic shot of the front border of the garden. As you can see, people can tell when they drive past my house that there's something going on here with coneflowers. Quite a few of them. Competitors' varieties, Ari's varieties, varieties that have just popped up in the garden that may someday have a name. Who knows?